Okay, welcome everyone. We are going live on Facebook. Wait a second, just make sure. Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody. Welcome everyone on Facebook, welcome everybody on Instagram. I would like to welcome you to the open session today. Let me make sure, here we go. Today we will be having an amazing session. Give me a second, let me make sure. Okay, there you go. Okay. Welcome everybody on Facebook. Welcome everybody. Let me see what's going on here. Okay. Just want to make sure I see everybody on Facebook. Yes. Okay. Welcome. Happy New Year to everybody. This is my first New Year edition of the Open Live session. So I would like to say Happy New Year, Happy New 2022. May it bring lots of happiness and health and joy to everybody around the world, to everybody who's viewing me, to everybody who's not viewing me. I'm wishing everybody health, prosperity, joy, happiness, and lots of laughter in this new year that just started. I am here today. We have an amazing session, very exciting. We are going to talk about how Neurographica was created. My name is Lana. Shalom to those of you who don't know me personally yet. I am a certified Neurographic instructor and coach. I am an official trainer. I train in Neurographica for a lot of students in English, Neurographica, and this is what we're actually going to discuss in details today, how Neurographica was created, how did it come about, and everything. And I'm so excited to be here. My, hey, Sudha, welcome. So nice to see you. And I am excited to be continuing my open live sessions. Let's start talking about what Neurographica is, how it was created. For those of you on Facebook, I have a presentation that you will be following. For those of you on Instagram, there is no presentation, but I hope my the special the special lenses that I chose are presentational enough for you to look and have fun. Let's start, okay? What is the idea of Neurographica? And the idea of Neurographica is purpose, energy, and creativity. And the idea that the creator of Neurographica, which we're going to talk about next, Dr. Pavel Piskaryov, his main mission in life was transforming the world by the tip of a marker, okay? This is Pavel Piskaryov himself. Those of you on Facebook, you can see the presentation. Those of you on Instagram, no worry, everything will be in the YouTube video. You can watch it. For now, you can just listen. I will be telling you. Dr. Pavel Piskaryov is a philosopher, a psychologist, an architect, a coach. He's the creator and the dean for the Institute of Psychology of Creativity. He initiated a new coaching association that's called the International Analytical Coaching Association. Welcome, Suhair, and so nice to see you. Welcome, Yelena, so nice to see everybody. Those of you on Facebook, you can also send some hello and some handshakes so I can say hello to you. it's interesting to know that Neurographica this year in April, we always celebrate Neurographica's birthday in April. Neurographica has celebrated 7 years. Hello, hello, Suhair. So glad to see you, dear. Neurographica has celebrated 7 years in April. Now it's about 7.5 years old. So Neurographica, it's such an interesting story. When Pavel Piskarev tells us the story of how Neurographica was created, I always get mesmerized because it's such an amazing story of personal triumph, of creativity, of perseverance, right? And you guys are going to see it now, okay? So originally, Pavel Piskarev was, he is a psychologist, he's a coach, right? His very first profession, so to say, was architecture, and he worked for many years in one of the famous cities in Ukraine called Odessa. It's a beautiful city by the Black Sea. It's very famous. It's a famous port. And he worked as an architect there. Then for many years, he started becoming more interested, and he started becoming very much involved in various integrative practices, such as Zen practice, such as Buddhism. You know, he started doing Vipassana retreats. He started becoming more interested in practices of the Eastern kind of philosophies and everything else, right? Then for many years, he moved and he lived in Israel for about 10 years. And he worked there as a Reiki master. He has a Reiki master. He actually opened up a clinic with his good friend who actually leads a Neuro-Reiki course in the Institute currently. And they operated a clinic, a Reiki clinic, and people, there was a big flow of people who would come. And then Pavel learned how to become a coach, and he started practicing coaching. Primarily, that was his primary position, his profession. After 10 years of living in Israel, he actually moved back to Moscow. He got some business clients and he moved back to Moscow. He lived in Moscow, in St. Petersburg. And he talks a lot about how he practiced coaching. He had a lot of clients. He had a lot of interesting, clientele. He had big corporations. But through all of it, he always had an idea where he wanted to create something so unique, something very unique, something that would integrate, something that would kind of transcribe all of the beliefs that he practices, all of his experience, all of his knowledge. And first, he actually created something that's called the pyramid of development. It's something that I mentioned a number of times. It's something that I will be introducing you further this year. But the pyramid he created, but he didn't become famous because of it, right? And he kept asking, he kept searching, he kept looking, and he kept creating something and something, he kept bringing something interesting that he can create and that can be integrative to use for everybody around him, not just somebody who has a lot of knowledge and practice like himself, but anybody can just take this practice and create it, okay? And create, kind of recreate their future, recreate their life. He was trying to create something that's his own unique practice. And it's interesting to know that he said that he talked about it a lot. He would think about it a lot. That's something he worked on developing within himself. And then one day, on April 29th, 2014, he remembers that day specifically, he was traveling from Moscow to Israel. He remembers that day because he had a group he had to lead in Israel. And he was traveling and he was in flight. He was on board of an airplane. And he says that whenever I'm on the airplane, I never fall asleep. To me, it's like, a very recreational time. He says, I draw, or he's also an artist, so he likes to draw. He says, or I work, I open up my laptop, I do my stuff, I do planning, I do all the necessary stuff for my work. He says, it was so unusual for me that day. I was tired. And he said, I actually, for the first time, in an airplane, I fell asleep while I was flying. It's like, I think, a 2 or 3 hour flight. It's not a long time flight from Moscow to Israel, as far as I know. And he said that I fell asleep. And During the sleep, he said, while I was high in the air, closer to the, to the heaven, as he say, right? Closer to the sky, he said, a word came to me in my sleep. And the word was Neurographica. And he said he woke up. He said it was such a clear dream. He said such a clear word. He woke up. He took out his laptop. He said he was telling the story. I typed it up. He said, and I started looking. What is this word? What does it mean? He started Googling it, right? He started searching for what does it mean? What is this word? He could find nothing. There was no word. And remember, this word was in Russian, right? So he kept looking for it in Russian. In English, actually, there is something similar, neurographic. There's a study of like some kind of graphical, like something that has to do with biology, medicine, and graphics, computer graphics, but it has nothing to do with the actual method of Neurographica. He searched for it in Russian. There was nothing. He kept looking and looking, trying to spell the word differently, and nothing came up. He got so excited. The first thing he did when he landed was write to his lawyer and say, can you please trademark this name for me? That was actually, that was 7 years ago. And he took a whole year, and the whole year he was developing this method. He started looking, he started working and looking at the word neurographic, and he realized that it consists of two words. Neuro, right? It's something so fascinating. If you start looking in YouTube, I personally know so many people who I meet, and even if they don't know that I am personally associated with Neurographic Method, they start telling me how much they're involved and they're interested in neuroplasticity, neurology, neuropsychology. They say that they watch videos on TED Talk, and everything. It's such a fascinating subject, right? So Pavel took the word neuro, right? Neuro in Russian, right? Neuro. And he started thinking, what is this? How do I, what does this have to do? And of course, the word neuro is very clear. It has to do with with the brain development, with the neuroplasticity, right? Neuroplasticity is the belief that everything we, 1 second, I got frozen on Facebook. Let me just make sure everything is okay. Neuroplasticity is the study of how Neurographica, how the study of how brain can adjust itself, even if after a certain period of time, right? Whatever the person becomes interested, whatever the person starts to mentally develop, right? Reading some books about, right? Searching into a certain topic, whatever the topic is, the brain, the person becomes interested in, neuroplasticity helps develop this further, right? Neuroplasticity also believes that the human being can develop any aspect of themselves if they put their will, if they start practicing, right? It used to be many years ago, I would say like 20, 30, 50 years ago, neurologists, neuropsychologists, they actually believe that the human being only develops developmentally. Development goes only up until the age of 3, okay? So there is a huge belief, right, that the children, the babies develop between the ages of birth and 3 years old. After 3 years old, it's too late to teach anything. The brain is not as fast, it's much slower, it's not as kind of plastic, right? That's where the word plasticity comes from. It's not as moldable, right? And there's still a lot of children's psychologists, if you read into developmental psychology, that believe, Piaget and everybody else who said that everything you want to teach a child should be done by the age of 3. Then they started discovering that between the age of 3 and 5, actually, the development does occur as well. There's more, children do have the ability to create further, to develop further. Children do have the ability of taking something they're interested in and kind of developing more brain kind of, not the brain waves, but the development of the brain physically, right? When they do CAT scans, right? So on and so forth. Then the developmental psychologists started proving that the research started showing that the development goes up until the age of 12, then it expanded up until the age of 18, 19, 20, 21. And after that, all of the psychologists, neuropsychologists, developmental psychologists agreed after the age of 21, that's it. The brain stops developing. whatever you developed until this point, you can kind of develop further, you can go deeply, but you won't be able to do something completely new, to learn something completely new, something that wasn't ever introduced to you before, like, a certain age when you were a child, let's say, right? So for the past 10 to 15 years, right, the neuropsychologists actually started bringing more research, more development into this idea that actually, even when you are 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70, the brain can be creative even more. The brain can create more. The brain can develop more. You are able to create more branches within your brain, even at the age of 60 and 70. And that's called neuroplasticity, right? This belief that at any age, you can learn something new, you can develop, your brain will be able to develop, to remember, to create something new. And this is the idea. So Pavel took the word neuro and started working. He started thinking, how do I connect this, the neuroplasticity part to the graphic part? Now, the graphic was very much near and clear and dear to him because he's an architect. Pavel is a professional architect. He practiced architecture for a long period of time, like I mentioned, I think for 20 years or something, maybe 10, maybe 20, I don't remember, but it was a substantial amount of time. And he said that he still believed that architecture makes so much sense to him, right? The lines, the idea of the lines, the idea of the shapes, right? So he took those two important knowledge, right? That he took all of his experiences within integrative practices, right? All his knowledge as a Zen master, as all kind of Eastern philosophies. He would always get a master in them, his knowledge in the Eastern philosophies, his knowledge in his practice, right? He does Vipassana, he learns how to do Haku and all of that. He took all of it and he started putting it together. And of course, his extensive knowledge and practice in coaching field, right? In the coaching field. Remember, Neurographica, I always talk about it, is a coaching tool. So it's important to understand that Pavel, as a coach, took this. He started combining knowledge, the ability to take something within the brain, the ability to take something within your mind, within your knowledge, combine it with graphics, right? He started developing the graphical part. We all know that the important assets of Neurographica are the neural line. Let me see if it's here, right? Let me see. For those of you on Facebook, I'm trying to see if I have it. The neural line, right? Look, it's very unique if you look at the way the Neurographica works. All of you on Instagram, I'm sure you can look at the Neurographic picture. The first thing you notice are the neural lines, right? They're very unique, right? This actual line has been patented as Piskaryov's line because Pavel is the first one who took the line and started using it as a way, as a coaching tool, as a tool to develop oneself, as a tool to decrease the stress, right? Neural line is very unusual. If you go, I was talking about it last week, if you go to any museums, there's lots of abstract art. There may be some art that's similar to neural line, but there's nothing like the neural art. There's nothing like the neural line where you take the line and you can put your soul within the line. You can put your intention into the neural line. You can start looking and thinking and understanding, how does the neural line work? How does my brain function? What am I thinking about? What am I feeling? Everything can be expressed through the neural line. It's a very unique tool that belongs to this method of Neurographica. And then, of course, we have shapes, right? Neurographica is full of shapes. Let me see. I have this, right? If you look at any Neurographica picture, the first thing you're going to notice are the lines. The second, shapes, that very expressive shapes. Most of the shapes that people draw in Neurographic method are the circles. Circles are the archetype of completion, comfort, care, love, joy, happiness. There's no beginning and no ending, right? The universe, God, anything and everything that's the most archetypal, right? The archetype of love, the archetype of care, that's a circle. And that's why in Neurographica, most of the shapes we need are circles. And by the way, the ideas, This is very important. As a psychologist, Pavel has a PhD in psychology. That's why I call him Dr. Pavel Piskaryov. Pavel is a Jungian psychologist. All of the archetypes that we study and we bring and we use, practice in Neurographica come from Jungian psychology. If you want to learn more about Neurographica, I invite you to learn more about Jungian psychology, understanding how, why Jung was the one who started bringing the ideas. He started integrating Eastern philosophies within the Western idea of psychology. He was the first one who started bringing them together. He was the first one to initiate the idea of art therapy itself, even though neurographic is not officially in art therapy. We all know that it's quite quite close to being an art therapy. We have to remember that art therapy is an officially kind of accredited program. So in order to be a part of art therapy, there's a lot of processes and bureaucratic steps that people have to take. And again, Pavel lives in Russia. He's not, he does not associate. He says, what I'm doing is art coaching. And that's actually something new. I started noticing that even people who don't practice Neurographica, I met a few people who are art coaches, and they use art as form of coaching without actually being art therapists. And no, they don't practice Neurographica per se, but they do use art in their coaching practice or in their even working as a psychologist with kids or adults or anything like that, right? Even though they're not official art therapists. So that's something to keep in mind. So Neurographica is an art coaching model. Neurographica uses the elements of Jungian psychology, a lot of things that Jung says. When I remember now, I read more about Jung, I study more of what he says, what he teaches, and I see so much Neurographica being, having the base of Jungian psychology. So that's something to keep in mind. Everything that Pavel, like I said, all of his knowledge, all of his practices, he took everything and created this amazing method. That's why this method, to be honest with you, is so versatile. Honestly, I know people from so many backgrounds who are able to use Neurographica. That's why, first of all, Neurographica is so down to earth. Everybody can use Neurographica. You don't have to be a psychologist to start using it. You don't have to be, a therapist or an art therapist or even a certified coach to start using it. And that's the interesting part. The very first step in Neurographica is taking the basics course in Neurographica, which is something we are actually starting tomorrow. And that's where we learn what is Neurographica. Neurographica, first and foremost, the very first step is self-coaching. You take Neurographica and you start learning. Self-coaching is when you look at Neurographica, you take Neurographica and you start practicing for yourself. You decide, what is my goal today? What is my topic? What do I want to bring to my life? What do I want to change into my life? That's why Neurographica is called the transformational method, right? Because we can take any topic or any goal, and through Neurographica, we can transform it. We can figure out what's holding us back from achieving our goal, transform it through a beautiful algorithm called the algorithm for removing limitations. That's the number one algorithm we learn at the basics course. And through that algorithm, we start removing limitations. We start harmonizing everything that stands in our way. We transform it, and then we move forward. We get to our goal. I know so many people, so many of my students who took the basics course, even before they became specialists, even before they went to the next step and decided to become professional, decided to actually learn how to make money, and they make money. My students practice, they graduate with a specialist and they start practicing, they start working with clients. The very first step is learning how to help yourself. Learning how to transform. What is holding you back? Is your goal buying a house? And what's holding you back? Where are you now? And what's holding you from buying that house, right? Let's work on that. But a lot of times people don't have time, don't have the money, don't have the ability or opportunity to go to a coach. So this is a perfect option for those of you who want to learn how to take any goal And within half an hour, we actually learned it at the basics course as well. I will teach you, and I do teach, all my students are able to sit down within 30 minutes, figure out what is the goal and what's holding them back from getting to their goal, transform that limitation and go forward to the goal. So many students have achieved personal gratifications, personal achievements, right? Then a lot of the students, most of the students, I would say about 70 to 80%, they decide that they want to share this method with the world and they become specialists, right? This year, the same thing. In January, starting tomorrow, we're offering 2 live sessions in the basics course. It will be tomorrow, January 5th, and then a week later, January 12th. So this time there is a week difference between sessions. So you guys have a chance to look at the session again, do the homework if you want to. The homework has, by the way, all the sessions, all the courses that you paid for. Once you pay for the course, you're able to come into all the future live sessions, which we do. We do live sessions every 2 months, maybe sometimes monthly, sometimes every 2 months. And you guys can come as often as you want, get as much practice as you want, because every time there's something new that's developing. Neurographic is a live method, which means it's new. There's something new that Pavel constantly brings in, something that he learns, right? And he brings in something that I learn and I bring in, right? I infuse a lot of laughter yoga into my courses now. That's something I'm eager to share. This is going to be the first course where we're actually going to implement the laughter yoga as a part of the Neurographic method, right? I am, and a lot of times also, once you get in, you buy the course, you have access to all the previous sessions, right? So if you want to continue practicing and learning more and more how to do Neurographica, you're welcome to do that. Watch all the previous sessions, start learning, start practicing. And I want to tell you, the pictures that you see in this, look at the beautiful pictures, right? All of this is achievable, okay? I started 4 years ago in Neurographica, 4 years professional, 5 years unprofessional. When I started with Neurographica, guys, I was not an artist, right? When I was little, the art teacher told me, I do not know how to draw. And from then on, I always believed that I don't know how to draw. I want to tell you, when I started learning to draw Neurographica, it opened me up. It started giving me back the boost that I needed to believe that I am an artist. And I want to give you this message. Everybody are an artist, guys. Anybody can draw Neurographica. When people ask me if I'm not good in art, can I do it? I say, do you know how to hold a pen, and do you know how to write script? Do you know how to write letters, ABC? If you know how to do that, you know how to draw Neurographica. Anybody, and I'm learning, and I'm hoping I'm developing more, even programs for kids, where kids, right? Children, Neurographica for children, where you can teach children, because children, as early as any age that they can hold even a crayon and create a wavy line, can start learning how to draw Neurographica, but that's something that's going to happen in the future. First, like I said, you always help yourself. Before you say, I want to share this, I want to bring it to everybody else, I always ask, are you ready to bring it to everybody else? Do you have enough resources to share with the world? In order to do that, you start with yourself. You work through everything that's holding you back, work through your limitations, work on revealing your intentions, working on your intentions, bringing them together. And after that, you start going further. Okay, and if after that, after taking the basics course, if you're ready to share the Neurographica with the world, which I'm inviting you to do, by the way, those on you on Facebook, by the way, the presentation that you do see, this is a presentation that was originally compiled by the Institute, and I was the one to fully translate it. And guess what? When you become a part of the specialist course within the specialist course that I will be teaching, you get access to this presentation, and you own rights to use the presentation for your own wealth, for your own good, for your own practice, for your own profession. Neurographica is an amazing method to use for yourself, to use with others, whether you are a therapist or a coach or any other helping profession, whether you're not. Guess what? The Specialist in Neurographica is an amazing course where people come from all backgrounds, and guess what happens? I give them the necessary knowledge where they take it, and that program, by the way, is evolving, and I'm going to be adding more sessions where I will be explaining the coaching, how to do coaching. There are a lot of model sessions, that you can take and you can learn how to start using Neurographica and start making money, start using it as a new profession. It's up to you. You can do this. But remember, the first step is always the basics course. So I'm inviting you all to join the basics course. We're starting tomorrow. 1 second. I wanted to see you. I want to thank you for joining me for this interesting live session where I was so glad to share with you what Neurographic was all about, how it was created, how Pavel Piskarev, the creator, the founder, took this idea, right? The perseverance. He spent a whole year sitting down and developing. Neurographica has 9 algorithms, guys. It's a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of ideas, and it's constantly developing. Pavel constantly adds something new, some new methods, some new algorithm, some new development within the Neurographic method, right? Neurographica has a whole module on the spirals. Neurographica has a whole module on, like I said, neurohealing, right? Where we use Neurographica combined with a Reiki knowledge to do everything. So many, taking the basics course is just like opening the door into the new beginning, into the new house, into the new knowledge, right? But it's a very important step. Once you learn the basics of Neurographica, you can go anywhere from there, okay? If you are interested, let me know. Welcome to PM me. Welcome to go to my website. My website is lanashalom.com. Also, I have another website called neurographica-coaching.com. I will put the links in the comments, so you're welcome to follow through. Thank you again for joining me. I'm wishing you a beautiful day, or for some people, a beautiful night ahead. I am going to do what I usually do, right? Let's do some minute of laughter. Everybody ready for the laughter session? And ready, set, go. Remember, when you start laughing, the first thing you do, it can be some kind of forced laughter. It's okay. You can just say, hee, 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 ho, 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 ho. And then the laughter, the real laughter will evolve and come within you, okay? Just allow it to come. Ready, set, go. Let's do some laughing before we say goodbye. After you finish the laughter, you can put your hands in the gratitude mudra gesture. Breathing in and out, you can say the gratitude, the thanks to everything and everyone who you would like to say thank you to. And also breathe in this energy you just created around you with a beautiful laughter. I'm wishing you a beautiful, joyous day and night ahead. Goodbye, and I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be joining at 1 p.m. We'll be joining at 1 p.m. Okay, for a live session. I'm actually, like I said, tomorrow morning, I am starting the basics course. So during the basics course, I may go live and reveal some of the interesting information from the basics course to you, so you guys can learn some more and see some maybe, sneak peek into the basics course. Goodbye, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day or